guys, and welcome to another
vlog.
Today with my beautiful girlfriend Vanessa.
Hello.
And with me. And topic of today is how expensive is Kuala Lumpur? That's what we discovered today. So if you have seen this video, it should be somewhere up here. This is the first part of today's video, where I just show you a day of my life here in Kuala Lumpur. And today we're gonna discover and we're gonna explain how expensive it is, how much money do you have to bring if you want to travel Kuala Lumpur and Malaysia, or maybe if you want to live here forever and ever and ever. And Vanessa is born in Malaysia and is Malaysian, so she definitely can give you good advices and she knows the prices. Ooh, that rhymes. Okay, let's start. Numero uno, the most important thing is an apartment or an accommodation. So you can get if you decide to move to Malaysia or to Kuala Lumpur, you can get a one-bedroom apartment in the city center for around 2,000 ringgit. You can get a two-bedroom apartment for around 3,000 ringgit. So all prices, of course, are plus minus. Yeah, you can get a one-bedroom apartment for 7,000 ringgit or 10,000 ringgit if you want. I've seen that actually. Maybe not a one-bedroom, but but it starts with 2,000 and 3,000 ringgit, which is I think a good deal for living in the city center in a capital of a country.
Yeah.
If you, however, decide to go outside the city, it's around roughly 20 to 30% cheaper, would you say?
Yeah.
Like Petaling Jaya or Selangor.
Sure, you could even get an apartment for 800 ringgit.
Yeah, of one bedroom.
Low-cost apartment.
Low-cost apartment, yeah. Well, these apartments are all with nice facilities. It's condominiums, we have to say, not apartments actually. Condominiums with nice facilities. So that is if you're looking for an apartment here in KL. However, if you're a traveler and you're looking for hotel or Airbnb,
yeah, well, you could get a hostel room for as cheap as 30 ringgit. Of course, it goes up as well. Or you can live in a 5-star hotel for about 350 ringgit per night. And of course, that again varies, right?
always.
And for Airbnb, with one bedroom, you could get 100 ringgit or 150 per night per stay.
Starts with 100, it goes up, like as I said.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sky is the limit.
Correct. So these are roughly accommodation prices here in KL. I also would say in Penang it's very similar. Would you agree to that? That Penang is similar?
Yeah, you could get good hotels for 200 to 300 above.
Yeah, and like Ipoh, Langkawi, these are all like these outskirts, which we just discussed, where it's just 20 to 30% cheaper what we just mentioned to you. Second most important when you're a traveler is the food.
Of course.
And especially when you decide to travel to Southeast Asia, I mean, you hopefully you want to explore all the nice foods we have here, and it's a lot. And I mean, yeah, maybe I link that as well. All the food vlogs we do from time to time. So check them out, what we have here in, not just in Malaysia, but in Southeast Asia. I think there's Cambodia, there's Thailand. We did food vlogs and some stuff in Europe.
Indonesia.
Yeah.
Yeah. The food prices varies like tremendously.
Yeah.
If you're okay with eating food from the food stall by the roadside, which can be very yummy.
Sometimes even the best.
Yeah, it can be as cheap as 5 ringgit per meal. Some places you can even get 5 ringgit a meal plus a drink. And yeah, really good taste. As for restaurants, usually the cheapest thing on the menu would probably be about 10 ringgit. Maybe even lesser, like 8 ringgit for a basket of fries. But as a main course, probably you would go up to the late teens, maybe 18 to 25, something like that.
Yeah. on the opposite side, we have, let's say, fine dining restaurants. Let's divide that. We have local fine dining restaurants where you can have Indian, so like very nicely set up, white tablecloths, Indian napkins and, you know, proper service, Indian, Malay, Chinese restaurants. So I would say there it starts per dish like 50 ringgit, yeah, plus minus of course, 50 ringgit. Western is more or less the same. It's like 50 ringgit. To give an example, maybe, a portion of the ravioli costs 50 to 60 ringgit, sometimes even 100 ringgit in a fine dining restaurant. I wouldn't call that cheap. I would call that expensive. We haven't done that actually. We're not the type of people who eat ravioli for 100 ringgit. No. But you could do that. On the other side, we have semi-fine dining restaurants where it's just a nice restaurant, but I wouldn't consider it fine dining, but with a good quality, with a decent concept of the restaurant, and there the prices are like 30 ringgit, 40 ringgit per dish. 30, 20 sometimes. Yeah. Western and local equal. Maybe local a bit cheaper. So this is when, if you want to have a nice concept, a nice restaurant, air condition, whatever you want.
Yeah. Okay. Give an example, like a night out at Pampas having a steak.
89 ringgit for a steak plus 120 ringgit for a bottle of wine. Yeah. Roughly. And then we are cheap. And as I said, the sky is the limit. You can also get a steak in Marble 8, which is the best fine dining steak restaurant here in KL, and you pay hundreds of ringgits for a steak. To sum it up, food-wise, you can go from as cheap as 5 ringgit per dish to expensive dishes, hundreds of ringgits. That depends on you. You can get anything you want here in Malaysia, and that's the great thing. You can go cheap, as they call it here, chipla, and you can go super fancy, expensive, whether it's your accommodation or your food. Yeah. If you move here, and if you live here like we do,
you better cook.
You cook, and that means you have to go to the supermarket. Here, I have to say the supermarkets are relatively all on the same price range. However, we have supermarkets, they have more imported stuff. Yeah, but I think a nice mix, we spend roughly 400 ringgit per week on the supermarket with the drinks. Really? Yeah. Roughly. Maybe sometimes it's 300 if we eat more outside, but sometimes it's 500. Depends on what we buy.
Yeah, okay.
And here,
so,
sorry. And this includes, of course, also shampoo and detergent and all the household goods, right? Not just food, I have to say. And then you
with 400, if you buy all this stuff that he just mentioned, then yes. But speaking from a local who goes to maybe local supermarkets, and there were times that I could spend up to 300 to buy groceries for a month for a family. So
yeah, no, that's really that's why you are here, because you can just
depends on your choices and what are the things you buy all the time, and what do you cook at home.
Yeah, I mean, if you buy every week 2 bottles of wine, that is already 400 ringgit or 300 ringgit, right? So this is actually without alcohol, because we don't buy alcohol for our home. No. Let's talk about nightlife. You come here for a visit, you want to go out. You live here, of course, you also want to go out once in a while. Let's split it up in nightlife discotheque and nightlife just a bar with live band. Bar with live band is usually for free, however, depending on what kind of concert they have, can be cover charge.
For free meaning free entrance.
Free entrance, free entrance. Can be a cover charge. Live bands, they are usually in pubs, can be a lot of fun. I did that a lot of times in my life. You did that also?
Sure.
You wild party cat.
I love live bands.
Yeah. Yes. Usually local bands, rock bands I would say. No cover charge. If you go to discotheque, it starts with like 15 ringgit. I found a nightclub in TREC. 15 ringgit, TREC by the way, and Changkat Nightlife. Next link here, because we did a vlog about that, remember? Years ago.
15 ringgit cover charge.
15 ringgit cover charge, including one free drink.
Okay.
which is usually just...
Very rare to find 15 ringgit cover charge, but he found one.
I found one, and I might put the link there. It was like all the nightclubs in KL. Goes up to the most expensive nightclub at the moment, what I found on the internet, because I'm old and I'm not going out that much anymore. No, it was 65 ringgit cover charge plus a drink. Either a bottle of beer, I think a glass of wine, or a long drink. That is the cover charge. The nightclubs can be expensive depending on where you go. I would say Souk is one of the more fancy ones. Or the rooftop bars are more expensive, of course, but can be also cheaper. In the TREC area, there are also cheaper clubs. So Changkat, they only have one nightclub.
For a glass of beer, you could find some places sell their beers as cheap as 8 ringgit per month or per glass. You could get wine by glass as cheap as 25.
Yeah. Maybe cheaper.
Maybe cheaper during happy hour, you never know.
But 25 is already a good cheap price.
Yeah, that's the regular price actually. And for liquor bottles, you could get one for like 300 ringgit per bottle.
Yeah, gin. Oh, it depends on what it is, but like an absolute vodka, a gin, a Bombay gin. I got that 3 weeks ago. A Bombay gin for 330, I think. My list is saying there. For 330, I got a Bombay gin. So, yeah, let's say 300. Sky's the limit. Okay, getting around the city, talking transportation. Transportation, GrabCar is the best of the best. Yeah, it's an app like Uber. If you're not familiar with that, it's actually like Uber, but we call it GrabCar, and we have that here in Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
It's GrabCar. You can either order a taxi or a private car, a limousine, a van, whatever you want, different choices. You can also rent a car, that's new. But GrabCar, so we call it GrabCar. Around the city center area, you pay 5 to 10 ringgit wherever you want to go, yeah, which is super cheap. If you want to go to the airport, it costs 65 ringgit plus toll. You end up around 75 ringgit from KL city center to the airport, which is around a 45-minute ride without traffic.
Yeah.
That's
if you're with more than one person. If you're alone, I would suggest you take the train.
You take the train because it's only 55 ringgit.
Yeah, and if you're
alone.
Yeah, if you're alone, it takes 28 minutes from the station to the airport.
Yeah.
And if you take this promo where you book it through Grab, then you Grab ride from your home to the station is free. So you only pay 55.
Talking about trains, if you want to take the train to Penang, which is quite an experience, you only pay 59 ringgit for the gold class ticket. I think they call it gold ticket. You can book the platinum ticket, costs 79 ringgit per person. Bus. So from KL to Singapore, you could get a ticket for 35 ringgit, which is really cheap. Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you find a 35 ringgit ticket. I found one, that's why it's 35, but Neil last time he said he paid for 50 ringgit. Mm-hmm. So, which is still cheap, come on. Mm-hmm. To Singapore.
And if you live in Kuala Lumpur and once in a while you need the island, which we all do sometimes, you could fly to Langkawi for as cheap as 65 ringgit one way?
One way, yeah.
One way.
One way, and as well also the cheapest. I think the cheapest I found that price on the internet. The cheapest
Is that with Air Asia?
That was with Air Asia. Mm-hmm. However, you can fly for 100 ringgit with Malaysian Airlines. That's also I found that, which is also cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Langkawi was still one of my favorite islands, by the way, because it's quite big. Nice.
And it's duty free.
Let's talk about Kuala Lumpur. How to get around in the city when you don't want to use a Grab car. I do that sometimes because I try to avoid the traffic. So either you can walk, because everything is quite in walking distance in the city center around the Petronas towers, or you can take LRT, MRT and monorail. Here ticket price starts with 150 per station. Yeah. Public transportation, 1.50 ringgit, very cheap and very convenient. However, you might, as a tourist, you might just wanna book the hop-on hop-off bus, who goes through all the sightseeing spots. The must see.
Yeah.
And that cost 55 ringgit, valid for 24 hours.
Yes, and the bus stop where you get on the bus is right where I work. So.
Are you doing your advertisement again?
Yes, come and visit me. Have a drink before you get on the bus. In summary, I would say things can be very cheap if you're not too picky with the things that you want to do or explore or eat, or if you choose not to have luxurious lifestyle, it can be cheap.
But you can also go really fancy penthouse apartment and living the life. Everything is possible, and that's the beauty of it. Everything is possible here in Malaysia and in Kuala Lumpur.
Yep.
Okay, guys, that's us today. That was our vlog. I hope you liked it. I hope you get all the infos you needed. If not, just comment, we will respond. We do our research, or maybe we just forgot something, but we live here many years. I mean, you and also me, and we respond. We will answer all your questions. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you're having a fantastic day. We hope you're having a fantastic day. Please subscribe, give this a thumbs up, and we see you in the next vlog.
Bye.
Bye.